So the second game here is I win, but I feel like I should have lost, and
Okay.
particularly around like this 15 to 20 minute mark, the
Mhm.
game just felt like 15 to 25 actually. The game just felt very weird and bad.
Mhm.
I felt slightly underfarmed. This was like the first time I think I tried, or second, Necrobook Spectre,
Mhm.
and I liked it. I don't think I used it like fully efficiently, but I thought I got some use out of it. I just felt a little bit like caged in despite
Yeah.
having a tinker. And then I don't know, we managed to drag the game out, but I'm not sure that it's because of like
Yeah. I understand what
things
you're saying.
we did good or that they just like
They just did bad.
suicided it
Yeah.
library
Yeah. I get
tinker.
you.
Like I think they just I think they just pushed badly
Mhm.
and like didn't make plays and just let me exist. And I don't think I did anything that like made that happen.
For sure, no worries. So I think just talking on Spectre and Necrobook, I think I've played it. I played it
Yeah.
before the nerf, and I've played it after. And
Yeah.
looking to, like, I've been watching a lot of like Arteezy and a few other pro carries that I've kind of started to stop using it after the nerf. And the reason why is because
Okay.
before the
This was
nerf,
pre-nerf,
this
I
is
think.
yeah, pre-nerf I think is actually was quite good because it gave you, well, the main thing is it allowed you to farm ancients really as a Spectre, which before you just nimbly was
Yep.
able to do. But also the mana regen was useful, and obviously with like the
Yep.
buff to it where like if you feed them you don't give a lot of gold. However, now the problem is that you have such limited mana because of the mana use to actually use the item. And I
Yeah.
feel like, and the thing is, that I feel like you can make it work if you also go Soul Ring. But the thing is that if you're going to go Soul Ring, you don't really need to go Necro in the first place because it gives you kind of like the
Okay.
mana regen and like the bit
I
of
mean,
kind of
I
extra
was seeing
stats anyway.
RTZ do both. I was
Um,
seeing RTZ do both, but
yeah, like
um,
that's the thing. Like I said, I think if you are going to do it, you're going to need both. But
mm,
I just don't feel that if you're gonna get
I feel
neck,
like the investment's not worth
yeah,
it.
because
Yeah.
like the whole point of Spectre really, like, I mean, you can obviously go the Manta Diffusal, but I think like Radiance is still the best, and in this game it probably still is really good because you're playing against PL.
Yep.
So going Soul Ring, it kind of is, there's that perfect item where it helps you in lane, it helps you to spam out Spectral Dagger, which is kind of somewhat of a farming mechanic. It's not great, but it's okay. And then it helps you kind of steroid towards the Radiance. But with the Necro book, obviously, because now, what is the exact mana cost? I can't remember exactly the mana cost. Yeah, 150, which is a
150.
lot
Yeah.
on a hero that, is kind of starved of mana. So if you're going to use it, you're going to
Yeah.
need Soul Ring. Yeah, so
If
it's
I have Necrobook at level 7, that's like actually a fifth of my mana.
exactly, yeah, yeah. So, that
And
means you can't,
Haunt.
yeah, plus Haunt, yeah, exactly. So unless you're going to buy a Soul Ring as well, it's just not really sustainable. And like I said before, if you're
Yeah.
going to get it, then, you might as well just get Soul Ring and leave the Necro because it does
Yeah.
kind of delay you. But like I said, I'm not necessarily against it, like super against it, as long as you can make it work, kind of thing.
Yeah.
This item builders thing
So my
is gone. Sure.
I was just gonna say my thoughts going into this lane are basically like Sky Clock. I buy stick. I survive. I hit creeps.
Yeah,
Like
that is
I'm
literally
not killing either of these people.
for sure.
My undying should
Yeah,
pass them fairly effectively.
for sure.
I should try not to die. I should try not to let him.
Yeah,
It's like
that is
you know,
exactly the kind of mindset.
not
So
killing anything.
you're the
In
only
this
way
lane.
you kill them is if they overcommit, like, but you're not looking for it at all. You're just
Yeah.
looking to.
I do end up like getting not kills, but like a bunch of assists because my
Mhm,
Void Spirit rotates up here later.
mhm.
But which is like cool of him.
Yeah,
This lane was gankable and he came, but not a thing that usually happens when you're playing spec. And like, I
yeah,
also don't expect my mid laners to be like, come gank the Spectre lane. That's like,
yeah.
actually, I would prefer you gank the other side and I can haunt in. Like,
Yeah. So so this mindset is a bit different from the last one where it's kind of like, you want to be rotating out. Like Spectre is actually one of those heroes that you kind of do want to be sitting in your safe lane as long as you can, like possibly, because of like the haunt play where like, you can be defending your tier 1 tower and also be, affecting the map elsewhere as well. And also you're kind of hard to kill, like whether you max dispersion and like you can just spectral dagger into the tree, so it's harder for them to kill you, whereas you can still kind of relieve a lot of pressure, and you don't jungle that effectively, in comparison to a Luna. So
yeah,
like obviously in this kind of matchup here, like you said, you had the right mindset. Basically, all you want to be doing really is sort of CSing, maybe like CSing with Spectral Dagger for ranged, but also harassing like the Sky and the Clock like that. That's perfect. So yeah, obviously just rushing, stick into Soul Ring. I think this is perfect. I would have had the same items. Maybe I would have had a salve instead of the Slipper's Agility, but other than that, I think this is all fine. Just, all kind of regular, really. Undying should just be kind of relieving a lot of pressure as much as possible. I think it's a small note. I just want to talk to a bit like your like. It's not much I can say other than just do better at last hitting. But one thing I think that definitely will help
Yeah.
with last hitting is your positioning in terms of last hitting and like where your hero is in terms of it. So let's just go back like for a small example. So obviously the first wave is the first wave kind of thing. Like you're gonna have to be playing behind your creeps. Your range, you get this. This is fine. Now is where you kind of want to be. So you see how you're positioned behind a creep
I
wave.
should be sitting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so this does one of two things. So not only does it allow you to get a direct denies on this, but you have the creep wave advantage because you have 3 versus there too. You also have Undying, which is like a big kind of bulwark in front of you and them kind of thing. And it's a small thing, but what ends up happening is like you're like, and I think this is where you talked about the whole aggro pulling on, or yeah, aggro pulling on melee heroes as well. So the mindset of like when you want to be doing aggro pulling and when you don't need to be doing it is actually a stark example here. So in this case, you like aggro pulled on the clockwork, even though you had the free CS. So you aggro pull for a few reasons. So the first one is you want to kind of draw it into the tower aggro to try and push out the wave. Remember the last time I talked about it, where you maybe want to like put it into tower and kill it out. That's one way. The other way is like you're forcing the creep away from the enemy hero so that you're no longer kind of contesting for it. Like he can't reach it, and so you're going to hit it before him. And the other time is say like there's a Skywrath just hitting you kind of continually. If you aggro pull, what will end up happening is your aggro pull and your creeps will like hit. You'll get one of the creeps away from the rest of your creep wave, which will then force the creep wave onto them, which is a small thing. But in scenarios like this, where you're like aggro pulling, you actually want to be playing a more of aggressive kind of mindset. Like particularly when you have an Undying in your lane, where like he is probably one of the strongest position 5s. You don't need to be playing. Yeah, because exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So like in this case, you kind of almost want to be. Obviously, the Undying wants to be the one in front, yeah, taking all the harassment. But what you're doing is actually you're kind of almost isolated him because you're pulling the creep wave away from him and yourself. So then he's left on an island. Whereas in some ways, although he wants to be in front, you want to be with him, so he's not just left on an island. So if they harass him, you're there as well. If that makes sense. It's a small thing.
Yeah, and we don't care actually about taking level 1 Skywrath nukes.
Exactly. Exactly.
We want to be level 5 when he's level.
For sure. This is good, right? So now you can aggro pull, yeah? Undying's not with you, like Skywrath was hitting you. So in scenarios like that, yeah, you can aggro pull. But just remember, like, if you don't necessarily need to aggro pull, don't do it. Like you're doing it to get CS kind of thing. You're not doing it just because it looks cool. I don't know, like it's just I just say that because like there's a few like last hits you're like missing that you don't need to aggro pull and you're doing it and you're missing it. But that will come with time and that will come with experience stuff. But I just thought I'd mention it because it will help you overall. So you get a nice pull off of the pull here. This is good. Resets aggro, and this is where like pushing the wave doesn't matter really that much. The first 2 or 3 waves is good because you establish dominance in the lane, and then once the lane was pushed, like your Undying did the right thing, pulled, and now it's back to where it was. So it doesn't really matter that you're pulling the wave. Your courier.
Should I be hitting these creeps? Should I be hitting these creeps right now? They're creeps, so that it doesn't push too hard. And they don't have too many creep advantage.
So
like, should I have been right?
So right now, what I would be doing is actually doing what you did here. So they're focused on the wave over here, yeah. So I'd be actually denying my creeps because what I want to be doing is if they're focusing on the creep wave over by the pool camp, I want to make sure that they're not getting anything here. So it doesn't matter that this creep wave goes into your tower because if the creep wave's under your tower, then you should be able to see us like uncontested, and you should be getting every single one of them basically. So you don't need to worry.
I'm just trying to avoid like the bounce back thing. So my thinking is like maybe I should have hit these range creeps to death, and then it would have staticked right here, right?
Yeah, that's definitely. I think it's something to think about, but you also want to what's more important than laying equilibrium and then the whole idea of bounce back and forth is actually just kind of level advantage. So if you're denying these creeps,
Mm.
yes, it might bounce back, but you just want to be getting higher levels than them. And seeing as
Okay.
your like undying isn't with you as well, you don't want to be sort of tanking too much creep wave.
Oh,
Because if
okay.
the next wave is like by your tier 2, so you would have to be kind of holding it for a while. Just doing this is fine, honestly. Because now they can't contest this. You don't like just pull it on the tower. Honestly, yeah, it's fine. So
Yeah.
because
It probably took like 100 damage that I
yeah, it
shouldn't have.
just unnecessary, and particularly in and this is another thing as well. Like if you hold the creep wave for too long, then they can get like an uncontested pull themselves. Whereas
Yep.
like if you pull it on the tower, it kills the creep wave, and then you can contest the pull. But if you kind of hold it for 10, 15 seconds, that's probably
Yeah.
exaggerated, but then that's 10, 15 seconds there. The neutral camp's killing your wave that you want to be killing, obviously.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
it's a small thing, but yeah, I mean you're there in time, but it's just like something about because also this is fine. Undying was pulling, but yeah, it's like if that creep wave, if you're there quickly or quicker, then Undying can maybe help you. You don't die obviously, but it's just something to think about. Now
Hmm.
you have a creep wave under your tower, like, and this is kind of like if I was you, like I'm okay with
Yeah.
how
This
this
is safe.
lane's going. I'm like CSing. That's kind of all I want to be doing as a carry.
Yep.
Yes, my support is being pressured, but that's kind of his job. He's there to sort of soak all the pressure as possible. Um,
Yep.
you're close to your Sol Ring. Yeah, they're tanking tower. That guy's gonna die. Like this is
Yep.
all really
Yeah.
good so far. He's gonna have to go back to lane.
Yeah. I was kind of sad that he TP'd out, but oh
Yeah,
well.
yeah. I mean, in an ideal scenario, he probably would have denied himself to neutrals. To be honest, it's quicker because
Yeah.
he TP'd back. It's even though you take longer respawn on denying, it's still faster overall.
Yeah.
Because now, so let me just yeah,
Yeah. This is bad.
this
I
is
should
really
just be
bad.
looking to pull
Yeah,
my wave.
yeah,
So,
exactly. You know it. Like, obviously, if your undying's with you, then you can do that. But when this happens right now, the first thing that I'd be looking to do is pull this hard camp for the next wave coming
yeah.
because there's
The next.
no particularly like when it's just clockwork, fair enough. But Skyriff is just coming back alive. You see him TBing in. There's no way you can walk up here
Yeah, my
because
thought was kind of like, oh, but I'm gonna have so many creeps, and then I realized like, oh, that
yeah,
doesn't actually
doesn't
matter, and the
matter.
wave is
Like,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
when
I see.
so that's fair enough. Like, you die, yeah, you realize it's bad. But yeah, it's just something like one thing like a lot of. I mean, pro carries. RT is one of the best in terms of like just kind of doing it. He does a lot of his own pulls, particularly if
Yeah,
like flies elsewhere and stuff. So don't
I,
even though it is a support's job, like it's important that you do it as well, particularly in scenarios like that because you just right now it's fine. Scarab isn't there. You can walk up. So
yeah.
this is all
I'm
fine.
definitely not afraid to just go pull for myself. I
Yeah,
just like I should have done it there instead of being greedy.
yeah, it happens. It happens. It happens. Like I said, Undyne's here, so it's not as bad. Ideally, you do want him to kind of pull if possible, but this is all good. Your skill build is fine. Items are fine. Like I said, if you're gonna go necro, now's the time to get it. Man then up. This is all good. Yeah, this is perfect. This is all good. This is good. Taking a few tower hits, probably not necessary, but not bad.
Yeah, I
Undyne
could have.
leaves you. This is a good play as well. Yeah, that's really good. If you die, that's still really good.
No, I
You're
live
fine.
it.
That was a really good play, actually. That was very, very good. I didn't expect that play
Thank
to happen, but that was good. It's manning up.
Well, I
Close.
mean, I've got creeps around me, right? So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is.
it's the right play. It's the right play. It's the right play. You're getting healed. That's fine. I was gonna say you need like some regen, but if Undyne's gonna heal you, this is all good. This is fun. This is all good.
Yeah, yeah. He comes back with the headdress, 12.5 HP regen, no problem.
Yeah. Undying. Yeah, and now you're fine as well. So far, like I said, there's small things at the start. Right now, it will change though. So Avengers top now. So this is the whole aspect of okay. So Avengers TP top. So
Yeah,
you can do one of two
I need to
things.
get out.
Yeah, either you get out, like so either you go bot or you jungle. I mean, there's a very small possibility that you can maybe like if the creep wave's under your tower, then you can maybe deal with 3 people, and because Avengers only level 4, Clock isn't level 6 yet. But the moment I see this is where I'm thinking like I'm just gonna get out of the lane straight away. Obviously, oh whoa, I'm going too fast. Sorry, and he had like an
I think I got the kill before dying, which is cool. I don't
Yeah.
think I could have gotten it.
yeah. So let's just watch this in like normal speed. So I think that TP is in fog. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt there.
Yeah.
So you see this now, yeah.
So I tried
So
to haunt out.
yeah, I think that's everything you did was the right play, except for you probably didn't need to soul. You had stick. I mean, this is very nitpicky to be honest, but it is alright actually. You tried the whole Spectre trick. I think you
I
were
was hitting my stick.
Yeah, I
was hitting my stick.
Yeah, I think you were dead probably anywhere.
Yeah, it's a
that's yeah. I mean, it's not too bad, Dev. Like just yeah. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that one. That one's like not too bad. I mean, maybe you could have like, nah. I think that was. I'll give you the benefit of that one. I'll leave that one there.
Yeah,
So now yeah. So this TB top is fine, I think. It's just important to know that I mean in this case like Venge TB top, so you know that Venge is probably still around here as well. And this goes back to so if Venge is still top, then this PL is kind of alone. Now Puck isn't level 6, so you're probably not gonna really be able to pressure this PL. It's just something to think about that even though you are a carry hero and you know your responsibility is your own lane, don't necessarily like if the enemy team ends up making plays and making movements elsewhere on the map, don't be afraid to then make a move on their enemy safe lane carry if it's possible. In this case, probably not because Puck isn't level 6 and doesn't have much mana. But say this Puck was 6, had full mana, then I would be TPing bot into the top, and because we know that Venge can't rotate, and you know if they're gonna start pressuring me, I'm gonna just leave and not be in that area, you know. But you to be top, so. This is a bit.
I think I just nuked the wave out.
Yeah, it's a little bit risky considering like you saw Venge was hitting you, but it probably worked out all right. You're close to Necro Book as well, about 1,000 gold away from it. So this is the right thing to do. Just jungle, sort of seeing what else is happening on the map. You have nothing else to go except for the lane, really. So this is fine.
Yeah, you can go like 2 or 4 times speed here. It's jungling for a bit.
I think right now is when I probably wouldn't be jungling, and it's not because of the runes, it's because I see Venge. So I know Clock has to be top because he TP'd up there because he was dead before, and he instantly shut up top. So if you're 1v1 against the Clock, he doesn't really threaten you, and seeing as you don't jungle effectively fast, I'd be looking right now. I'd be looking to go top because Venge's bot, and I know that it's just Clock. I mean, you don't have Necromonicon at the moment, so you farm kind of slowly, and you do take quite a lot of damage as well. And now Clockwork's definitely showed mid. I'm looking to just leave these creeps as soon as possible and go top because you kind of lost like 1,000 HP, and you're going to be farming slower than if you were just farming top kind of thing. Maybe I could have got away with farming that last camp, but this camp here is just there's no need and it's a complete waste really. I'd be kind of looking to go top. I mean, like now it's a bit awkward because Clock's already back, and you're like 300 HP. So if I was you, I would just ferret out a salve and then just start it all over again in terms of if I'm 1v1 against Clock, I'm gonna happy to be in the lane. But if you're on 400 HP, you can't walk back into this lane without fear of just dying, getting hooked and dying basically. Sky is showing bots, so you know it's 1v1. Maybe I can aggro pull here, but the catapult dies. Clock doesn't really want to contest you anyway, which is if this Clock was a better player, he'd be like running at you when you had like 400 HP. Now it's a bit more difficult for him, but still. So this is just like a small thing. Like so, just remember, like if you can lane, try and lane because you'll farm a lot faster. Particularly if you're playing a hero like Spectre. If you're playing a hero like Luna, then you probably farm out about just as fast in the jungle if you go the passive build. But and it's not only is it good because it's better gold experience in gold, but it also relieves tower pressure as well.
This seems to be a general theme, basically. I'm playing heroes, and like they should get pressured, but I think I'm allowing myself to get pressured more than people are actually pressuring.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, I think like your net worth
Like I'm not
is
taking advantage of supports cheap other places and showing on the map as
and that's the thing. So yeah, this is a good haunt. I was wanting you to kind of get involved if possible. You kind of bit risky. You end up getting saved. You're probably still gonna die. So.
Yep.
And this honestly goes back to the south. Honestly, if you have 4 HP when this engagement happens, I want you to fight this fight. But because you're like less than half HP, you're having to soul ring as well to get mana because you're spamming Spectre Dagger to farm. Like this fight is fine. It's just like you come in here. I think you actually miss Spectral Dagger. Actually, I don't think that even hits this guy. Like I wouldn't be walking up to this Skyrath mage. Just need to kind of figure out like your kind of surroundings as well. So PL, Clockwork, and Vengeance still alive, and then you walk into kind of fog for the most part. So you kind of get saved a little bit here by the Wyvern, but
well, my death gets delayed.
Yeah, you're just kind of delayed, really. Which, like I said, I'm fine with you fighting this fight. Like as a Spectre, you almost every engagement you want to be using Haunt if it's possible. But you just need to, and it goes back to the kind of the 2 or 3 minutes or the minute or so before the bad play. The quote unquote bad play happened because of like a few mistakes happened before. Like So, but other than that, just keep that in mind. So like the few things and stuff like that, in terms of support rotations and that. But you have.
So here I TP back top. I think that's correct because everyone just TP'd bottom.
Yeah. So if everyone's exactly. Yeah, this is fine though. You push the tower. This is the right play. Yeah. So you push with the Necro and try and push out as fast as possible. Yeah. This is all correct. This is all fine. It's all good. Splitting up the Necro as well. Spectral in for both camps. All good. Relief pressure. Clock's mid. It's all good. Yeah, like overall, your game is good. It's like these few things that make a big difference, though. If you have one or two less deaths, particularly at this stage of the game, it will change completely. Agi Van Braces is all good. So, again, I'd probably want to be top at this point as well. So either because when you play carry, and this is very much amplified on anti-mage, but the same principle applies to every other carry heroes as well, in the sense that like if you're playing this kind of 4 protect 1 strategy where like you're this big old carry and like you're going to get all this farm, which is fine. You're playing a Spectre. That's the kind of mindset you do want to be having. You have to be still realizing that I need to still help my team, but if I'm not fighting with them, I need to be helping them elsewhere. And the best thing you can do to be helping them elsewhere is by putting pressure on the map and on the lanes in other part of the lanes. Because what that will do one of two things: either you'll end up taking towers, which will get gold for your team, or more appropriately and more likely is someone from the enemy team will then TP to defend the pressure you put on that lane, which then makes it an unfair advantage, or at least a fair advantage for your team fighting as 4. So, like, this applies so much so when you're playing anti-mage, because as an anti-mage, obviously, you don't want to be engaging in any team fights, but you still want to be helping your team. So you push a lane, wait for someone to TP to that lane, and then maybe go back to farming or whatever. So then your team are then fighting 4 vs 4. But if you're not doing that and you're just jungling, what's happening is that your team is fighting as 4, and then they could potentially be fighting against 5. In this case, it's not happening because PL is also jungling as well. But keep that in mind, is that if you're pressuring a lane, perhaps you might force an Invoker TP or a Clockwork TP, and then it's 4 versus your 4 versus their 3, so then you're helping your team in that way. Exactly, and you just you do need to be farming, but and you'll see this a lot in like the pro games, for example, is that the enemy carry will be jungling, but once a fight breaks out, he'll either join that fight or he'll start pushing lanes immediately. Because like if you see all this information that's happening, like all this fight happening bottom, and first of all, you need to have your
30 seconds slow to get back to this lane.
And you need to be looking bottom as well. Like so, you sort of see, okay, who used what spells, And right now, so Wyvern TP's top because PL's pressuring that lane. Whereas if you're there 10-15 seconds, Wyvern doesn't need to TP. You can help elsewhere on the map, but like he's TPing top to relieve pressure on that tower when that's kind of your
Yeah.
job, you know. And so when
Yep.
when other people are trying to do your job, like it shortens and kind of their left kind of sprayed across the map, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
The other thing, I
sure.
think, the other reason I think this game felt bad is like 30 minutes in, I realized like, oh shit, I just never bought treads in this game.
Yeah.
After going for Necro Book or Phase, like I just never finished boots. I was like, why the fuck didn't I do that?
Yeah, just do
I
that.
don't know.
Yeah,
It was
whatever
really
happens. I mean, we all forget things, but yeah, I mean, definitely you want to be finishing like, particularly on a hero where your big aspect is like building up this big item, like Radiance. Like any small incremental increase in items is really important. So like treads,
yeah,
phase.
having either 10
Um,
agility and 10 attack
yeah,
speed or
it's
20
big.
attack speed, whatever it is. Or
Yeah,
like another 200 HP, which is actually like 250
for
because of this
sure.
version. Would be really nice.
So I'm just gonna
But
go back
yeah,
quickly here.
so I don't know
This
why I'm here right now.
Yeah, so I think if you were any other carry, I think this play isn't actually that bad. The thing is though, like when you play Spectre, you the best idea is really you want to be pressuring lanes until someone rotates, and then when someone
Mhm.
rotates, you want to join up with your team with Haunt because you then have the advantage, you know. But if your team are already bottom, or they, ideally, like I said, every team eventually wants to take the enemy's tier one safe lane tower. Yeah, so your team want to take that bot tower. So if you end up TPing bot, what ends up happening now? Like you're just not being efficient basically, like because you want to be in this fight bot, or at least you want to be looking to help if you can. Obviously you're building towards radiance. You don't want to be harpering that anyway, but
Yeah.
you can halt into this fight. You don't need to TP to it. So one thing that
Yeah, to
you
me,
can
it looked like
go
I
on.
think like based on the enemy's positioning on the map, it looks like bottom to me is where I should be farming because they're showing clock mid and they're showing like I know PL and Venge are top,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But like then they all end up rotating here anyways. I guess like I shouldn't
yeah.
TP here
So
because I haven't seen them their TPs. Maybe I should walk here, but like I should probably be on the triangle
yeah.
farming, right?
So yeah, that's basically what it is really. Like because now you use TP, you can't TP top if you need to or want to, kind of thing. The idea is like if everything is so. If we just go back to when you do it, yes. So PO
Mm-hmm.
and Venge show top, yeah. So your team can either respond to it or they can look to push bot. But what I would be probably doing is looking to either run mid or farm the jungle until that point happens. So like the triangle kind of thing.
Yeah,
But the
the
moment,
whole jungle.
yeah, yeah, the moment you TP, the moment that they know that they've kind of got you in one position, it's not so bad because you're in kind of in a preferable position. So, like, say if you TP to your safe lane tower, it would be 10 times worse, particularly if you didn't have
Yeah,
Haunt, right? Because that, like, I say this to whenever I play pubs. Like, say if I'm like, because right now I'm leveling up like an alt account, so I'm smashing through divine accounts or whatever, divine
yeah,
games, and whenever I see the enemy carry TP to his own safe lane, I just tell my team to run at him because there's nowhere he can go because he just TP'd
yep.
there, yeah? So either he has to walk back to base and it's really inefficient, or he just dies, or we take his tower or whatever, you know? For
Mm-hmm.
you right here, it's not as bad because at least you have there's more aspects of the map to be, but it's the same kind of principle. You TP down here, so if they want to contest you, and seeing as you're building towards radiance, they want to kind of do something to you until that, they will just run at you. And that's kind of what they do here. It's not so bad because, like I said, there's heroes being elsewhere on the map, and they're slow to rotate, and so it looks like it's not too bad of a fight. Tinker ends up dying, but you kill the Invoker, and it looks like you're going to kill the Avenger as well. So, like, and this just goes back to you kind of playing the right part of the map. But if we go back to, you can still be in this fight, but you can be using Haunt to get there. Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's that kind of thing where like I want you to be playing this part of the map, in the sense that this is the fight. If a fight happens, you want it to be here than elsewhere because now you've killed them. You just take their tower, which is perfect. You've now copied or mirrored what they've done in terms of they take the tier 1 tower and you're taking it bot. Yeah, I just want you to
yeah. But I
be
could have three
taking
more
it with Haunt.
camps with
Exactly, but
haunted.
this is fine though, and this goes back to kind of like let's go back to like let's say the last game or whatever. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're fighting at the enemy carries enemy safe lane tower, yeah. Whereas Luna, you just didn't do it at all. You refused to go to the enemy's safe lane, and this time it works out because you force a rotation top because I may Venge TP's top or PL is there at the moment, yeah? So like everything happens slow for them. So when you go and take this fight bottom, they're slow to rotate, so it ends up working out and it's a good fight for you. And you know, if we go back to the Luna game, like you just didn't even want to look top because your offlaner was there, you know? And so it just works out better, you know? It's a small thing, but it has a big impact on the game, you know? Because now, if I was you, I wouldn't leave this part of the map at all, really. Like, you can just push a slave in, you can farm these 2 camps on the Radiant side, you have the triangle here as well. And if any other engagements happens, you can always just haunt in. But right now, I'm going to be kind of here as long as possible. Obviously, right now, like, everyone's reviving, I would want to be kind of going back to these safe camps to farm here.
Yeah, I'm going inside.
Yeah, you're gonna go triangle. Like I would have maybe farmed this. Like the waves pushed in. You want to kind of clear this before you have to go back. Defending mid is fine as well. Probably not your duty if I'm being honest. Probably that should be the Tinkers or the Pucks.
I think it's a little safer than bottom because they all locked there. I think
So
I know that they're there. I'm not sure.
so
The fog's not.
yeah. So just like an understanding. So if you even if they have vision here, which in some ways they kind of do, but they've blocked this hard camp here, I'd rather you
Mhm.
play any carry, by the way. Whenever you play any carry, I mean, there's a few
Okay.
exceptions, but if you're dire, where you want to be farming is this camp, this wave whenever it gets pushed out, and then the triangle. If you go
Right.
anywhere elsewhere, you're kind of playing the wrong part of map really as a carry, and it's for a few
Yeah.
reasons, right? So normally this is the safest part of the map. Well, it is the safest part of the map. Now there's games where it won't be, where say they have vision of you, or you know, like in this case they do. But
Mhm.
if they come and gank you here, there's nothing they gain really for this. Like we talked about last game, how taking this tower is really
It's
kind of
useless.
worthless. So it's away from Roche, it's away from tier 1 mid, and not only that, but if you're dying bot, I would hope that my team is doing something elsewhere on the map, which is good. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you really want to be playing here. Like defending mid is fine. I'm okay with that, even if it might not be your job. It might be like Tinker's job, but you jungling here, it actually what ends up happening is it restricts the farm that your teammates can really get because
Can I be bottom right now given PL's there though? Like I'm pretty sure he has defusal at
so
this
yeah,
point.
yeah.
Like
So
even if he
I'm
doesn't kill me,
yeah,
it
yeah.
burns all
No,
my
no, no.
mana.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't want you to. So in some matchups, in this matchup, you can't man up him. In some matchups, you will be like as a carry versus carry, you will be able to man up against him. But in this matchup where you can't, you can just farm the triangle, and then when he leaves, you just push out the wave. But
Hmm.
yeah, but normally, say you're playing, I don't know, like a troll versus a weaker jug. Like, so you're playing troll and the enemy carrier's playing jug, and he's already used
Yeah.
Omni stance. You just run at him and force him away, and then you push out the wave. But
Yeah.
you want to be farming in this area. But you farming here, what ends up happening is that. First of all, like this part of the map is then not being utilized by your team, and
Yep.
if one of your team then wants to farm this part of the map, if there's an engagement around, they can't get to it because it's a really awkward part of the map. Whereas you,
Mm.
being a Spectre, you can farm this part of the map and still be there with the fight because you have Haunt. But if you're
Yeah.
not playing
Okay.
Spectre, it's still important that you play this part of the map because normally as a carry hero, you don't want to be farming or taking fights anyway. So even if you can't get to the fight because
Yeah.
you're farming here, you don't even want to be in the fight in the first place. So it doesn't matter, you know, and that's why you
Yeah.
really like if you watch like a whole games through either pub games or competitive play, almost exclusively all the carries will be playing if they're playing dire they'll play this side like these camps, this wave, this triangle. If they're playing radiant they'll play this triangle and then these 2 camps and pushing out this wave top.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's be a few exceptions where they don't, and that's normally from relieving pressure on the tier 2 or relieving pressure mid, or they're looking to take Roche or whatever. But normally the large amount of farm will be in this area, and that's because it's just the right part of the map. And it goes back to BSJ's like dead lane concept, but you know it's a concept regardless who said about it. It's just the ideally that's where you want to be, you know. Join this fight is okay. Like looks like you had the advantage. Undying brought back as well, so you want to be there.
As soon as I saw the PL TP, I was like,
Yeah, you
okay,
just want to
no,
peace out.
no, we back.
Yeah, yeah,
We got
that's
what
fun
we wanted in rotation. It's
for
fine.
sure. But yeah, and you don't even want to look at that yet, so you just want to push that bot. But just keep that in mind. That's the kind of, again, like, you don't. First of all, yes, you have Necro Book, but like a double Ancient with Prowlers is like really slow, and there's a lane that you can be farming. Again, it kind of goes back to the
Yeah,
last
I
game.
think.
Like, every one of the enemy heroes is mid, yeah. So just push up bot. Not only is it better farm for you, but also then stop putting pressure on the enemy heroes. If you jungling like puts
Yeah,
no pressure on the enemy team, but you showing bot, pushing out bot does put some kind of pressure on them, and it's easier
yeah,
to
yeah,
farm as well. Like, you take like 15 seconds to kill like one creep. It's just inefficient and slow. Whereas, yeah, you eventually do realize, yeah, I ain't touching that cam. But generally, like, things like that, you just go push up bot immediately. And as a carry player, your job is to push out lanes and to be as farmed as you can. And by doing this, you do both. So just keep that in mind. But you're not doing like too bad. I think like the thing about Necro as well, it does kind of slow you down as well. Like, there comes a time where you want to be kind of having, like, you want to be joining these fights, but you can't because you don't have Radiance, and you don't have Radiance because you're kind of spending like 1,000-ish gold on Necro. But it does help like in scenarios like this and stuff. But trust me though, like, I know it seems kind of scary to like farm this part of the map.
hmm
But it's kind of the thing that you have to get over.
Okay.
Because and it comes kind of from game sense as well. But the best thing I can kind of give advice to is do it, and then the times it doesn't work, kind of analyze why, and that will
Yeah.
kind of make you realize. But another thing as well is whenever you play any carry hero, you have to think about the who threatens you in a kill combo kind of thing. So
Yeah.
let's say you farm bottom, yeah, Venge walks up to you and spots you. If it's just Venge, you ain't scared of her, yeah. So like in that sense, it's like, okay, oh, that's fine. The only people that
Yeah.
probably
The
kill you,
Venge plus stuff.
yeah, Venge
Venge
plus
plus attack
PL,
bonus
yeah,
sounds right.
Venge plus, these, and that's when you can be like, okay, I don't see these people on the map. Okay, now I might rotate to this triangle. But if I see
Mm.
those people and see that combination, then I can be pressuring bot and farming. So obviously, if you want to rank it in terms of riskiness, pushing the wave
hmm
is the most risky, but it's the most rewarding as well because it gives you the most amount of farm and puts pressure. These two camps is, a bit risky, but also a bit rewarding, and this is like the least rewarding, but it's still quite rewarding. Sorry, the least risky, but still quite rewarding because of farming in like a nice triangle area. And it's all kind
Yeah.
of knowing like, okay, when can I get away with X, Y, Z? So now you go back to farm the ancients because the wave's pushed out. You see the PL, you see the Venge, and it's the safe place to do. But it's having the kind of priorities of knowing when to do what. Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I
it's
think I'm just basically playing really scared consistently. It's a common
exactly
theme for both these games where I'm not taking
for
advantage of
sure.
pressure. What do you
So
think of this TP?
So this TP is not so bad because you're a Spectre. Because if the fight happens bot, you can just haunt in. I think this
Yeah, my
TP.
thought was
Yeah, I think this
I
TP
see
is
these
fun.
enemies running at my tower. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
set up this tower and defend it.
for
I'm
sure.
out of here all hot.
No, no, no. You don't want to be doing that. And I think it makes it a
I could have maybe
gone.
like thrown a Q for. I could have maybe thrown a
Nah,
dagger from
you
the
don't need to.
Jersey
It's
and
not.
then.
Yeah, it's not your job. Like, ideally, like in scenarios like this, as a Spectre, like, you want to join fights either when you have Radiance or if you're
Mhm.
forced to, in terms of like the enemy team like dives your enemy team and then you just haunt in. So I don't mind the TP going bot. And this is kind of the exception. Yeah. So like, the rule is you always want to be playing the enemy offlane as a carry, like past the laning
Mhm.
stage. The exception is like when like most of the enemy heroes show in that area, then you can rotate elsewhere. Um,
Yeah.
and that's fine. Now you can kind of like, so now you see like the both supports, clocks, mids. So the only person that can kind of be top is Invoker, and Invoker can't kill you by himself, so you push out the wave. Okay, right. So
Yeah.
now they start rotating, but you have Dagger. You even have Haunt. This is a really good play, actually. Your bot. Hopefully something can happen. It doesn't happen, but that's the right play. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and this is the thing, right? And
Now
so
they're all split up
now they're
and
split up.
now they can't. Yeah.
Ideally, like, if your team was on the ball, I'd be wanting my team to fight this because
Yeah, like
to
Puck
its
would be coiling them and
exactly,
Wyvern
yada
ulti.
yada yada
Well,
yada.
like, even though they didn't, it was still
Yeah,
the correct play.
but yeah, for sure, it was the right play. And the thing is like, like I said, you can't die to Invoker by yourself. So, and it's kind of the understanding of where you want to be kind of almost forcing things, and like kind of it's like knowing your limits. Yeah. So, okay, I want them to go on me, but I just don't want them to kill me. In this case, like Invoker does a bit of combo, but doesn't kill you because you know he doesn't have enough to kill you. And that in that sense, like it wastes his mana. Now he's like barely any mana. It forces Skywrath TP as well and Clockwork Stop as well. So all that because you pushed out a wave and then did the right thing, you know? And like
Yeah.
particularly in your bracket, I can't emphasize this enough, but the way you play will make the enemy's team play worse as well. So that is a perfect example, yeah? I want you to play bot, but you force out top, and then because of that, you force like 2 bad rotations as well. From the enemy team, which then delays them. Yeah, Clockwork Skywrath is here, like, and you're not even there anymore. And so, particularly, I mean, it happens in my bracket as well, to be fair. But like, you want to be kind of forcing bad, and in your bracket, it will just be amplified even more. You know, if you do the right things, like everyone else's games from your enemy's point of view will be amplified, and they'll look really bad because they're just chasing you all over the map, and they're not getting anything because you're kind of knowing your limits of when I need to get out, when I need to come back in. You know. And that comes back
Yeah.
to it. In this case, obviously, he wasn't able to like kind of capitalize on Venge and PL being by themselves, but at least it forced some kind of rotation. So this is good. Like right now, I'd be kind of just obviously again just kind of want to spam get to towards the Radiance, and then when I have Haunt up, looking to fight.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. I end up back top here. I'm trying to like get away from Tinker. Basically, we end up like going the same places.
And that just kind of like Tinker doesn't really want to be at the he doesn't really farm this triangle because it's like he has to be kind of in the middle of it, and he does have a blink which can make it possible. But say before the blink or whatever, like he doesn't really want to farm this. He wants to farm lanes and be kind of the places where you don't want to be. Obviously, for example, like one thing that I actually kind of struggled with is like, okay, so I know like I need to be playing the off lane, like playing this part of the map.
Some other guys,
but with someone else there, exactly.
Do it anyway.
Just do it anyway, And that is actually the video that I was like, oh yeah, just do it, because what will end up happening is do it anyway. They'll leave, but if you stay up here, then they'll want to stay bot, and that's like you don't want that to happen, So you're kind of just enabling bad plays, not only from your own team, but it can enable like the bad plays from other teams as well, So
no, I know exactly what you mean. There was a Wraith King game I played yesterday where I was pinging. I'm like, someone needs to clear this wave in like our safe lane.
Yeah.
And like no one was doing it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it, but I know this is probably bad. I might die, but someone has to. And then I cleared the wave, and then I went like one more, and then I died.
That's
I knew what was gonna happen. I just shouldn't have done that. I should have like been stubborn and made like if the tier 2 dies because my axe doesn't want to clear it, then fine, but like I shouldn't.
For sure. I mean, but it's good that you're noticing these things though, because the first step is like noticing. Like if you don't notice it, you're never going to change, But now you notice it, and then now the next thing is just kind of being like the disciplined and kind of experiencing it, and going through it. But it's good that these things are on your mind for sure, because it will definitely help. So so now you have Radiance, you have Treads as well now. So right now, like in a competitive game, like I'd be telling my team to smoke and look for a play. But in pub games, it's not as easy as that. However, fights will definitely still occur, whether you ask for them or not, if you're kind of playing the right part of the map, which right now you kind of are. You're in the triangle, So things will eventually happen. And when things eventually do happen, you just need to be there kind of ready, And also, the thing is, well, is like, say you push this wave in, like mid's going to be pushed in by like one of your other teammates, and because what will happen is your playstyle of playing like alone and far away from your team, it will force the other 4 members of your team to group up and clump together, and that's what you want really from your team. So when a team fight happens, you can just haunt and join them, and then you're as strong ball ready to go as 5. So this is all fine. So right now, like maybe you could farm neutral items before it, but engagements that happen. But like right now, okay, maybe you shouldn't perhaps be there, but because of say Skywrath and the Undying, but because you're not there, Undying's there, and like you kind of want your team to be as 4. Like say if your team is as 4 or 5 there, you can join up and with them. But
Yeah.
Skywrath having Rod of Atos plus the Invoker combo does make it a little bit more risky for sure. That's probably a good haunt because like your team isn't behind you and you're elsewhere as well. So in scenarios like that, I think that's kind of what happens. Ideally,
Yeah.
like right now, you just got Radiance. I want my team to fight. So if like people go on this Undying, I want my team to be on them straight away, because you just want to be fighting like right now. But obviously, your
Yeah.
Undying dies. That kind of delays things. But if the enemy team's
It's more on
yeah,
Puck for
for
fucking
sure.
jungling top.
Yeah, for sure.
Undying.
Yeah. Because right now, if I've just seen Skyrath like blow his combo, I want my team to be going on this guy or fighting right now. And if they're still in the area, which you kind of know, I have an inkling that they're still in the area, I want all my team to be right now, because if PL walks up to me, I want them to be there ready to kill him and fight him, you know? They're not there, you have to haunt, really. I think this is the right play. Even though it's not ideal, it's not ideal because your team aren't really where they need to be, kind of thing.
That was a nice play from them. They forded the creep and
yeah,
TPing.
for sure. Like, and like now Puck's TPing, so like now you ought to be there, but you had to haunt before. So it's just kind of awkward timing, really. I mean, I don't
know. Maybe I should have TP'd in.
You do TP in. I think like you need to fight here. But it was a bit awkward seeing as Undying was dead as well. But it was all right in the end. Right, you killed the Invoker, kill Clockwork. It was a little bit messy and it was a little bit kind of poor, but it was the right thing that needs to happen. And sometimes like you just need to be also like vocal without like being cancerous. Because like what I've actually been doing, like I said, I've been kind of leveling up an alt account through Divine at the moment, and I just actually mute everyone on my team, but I still make plays and without being toxic.
I've been playing all muted recently.
Yeah, I actually playing carry, because a lot of the movements and a lot of kind of plays and map movements all come down to you. You actually are responsible to a lot of fights happening, like indirectly in some aspects. Yep. So like in scenarios where like, okay, lanes are in a good position, like just say, oh, let's go smoke and go fight. And even though they're all muted, like normally sometimes it works out and they can hear you. Like as long as you're not being toxic, like they're probably gonna listen, you know. Yep. But I mean, I normally do get tilted quite a bit actually from people like flaming me and yada yada. So I just mute everyone, and I just find it a lot easier. However, right now, I'd be looking to back off. Go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's time to back.
Yeah, it's time to leave. For sure. Like, yeah, Invoker is about to come up, and you don't have Haunt either, so I'd be looking to back straight away. Like you had a good fight, you killed Invoker, but you want to be leaving. Looks like PL is going to get caught. I mean, well, let's just go back. Like, it's a bit awkward because, like, PL actually, like
PL locks up and he's like, "I'm free food."
For sure, yeah. And for sure. And in scenarios like that, like, yeah, you kill a PL and probably back out. Like, you can maybe, I mean, it went a bit fast for me to look, but in scenarios like where if they played it better, what would happen is like they'd all be fighting you at the same time. Instead, they kind of went one in. Like, Invoker wasn't ready and PL ends up dying. But it's probably the best scenario, really. But I like what you're doing, where you're looking to sort of see if you can kind of re-engage if possible. But when this happens, it's not so bad. Yeah, I'm
trying to focus.
Yeah, this is all fine though. Like, this is not too bad. Just right now, I'd be looking to kind of reset. Like, you're kind of low. Definitely don't need to be diving this deep. Like, this is kind of like both of your team are kind of like baiting you back in and out. You're kind of low. Yeah, it's all good. It's not so bad.
Lots of dodging. I have lots of daggers.
Yeah, this is all bad now. It's fine. It just looks a little bit sketchy, but in the end,
it's definitely like edge of your seat.
Yeah, for sure. In the end, it worked out right. But it's the right thing to do. Like, because if we go right back to the start of the engagement, that was a good play though by you for sure. Like staying around. But so let's say before this as well. Is it before this? Is it? So it was faster. Sorry, I just need to sort of have a good frame of mind. So like right now, I'd maybe look to kind of pressure this a little bit. The moment you see any bit of resistance is the moment you know that they're going to defend. So right now, like, For
Keep that
sure,
right.
yeah. So Skyrive is here, so you know, like they're gonna defend, yeah. So right now, I'd be like, "Oh, guys, like clock's up in 10. Like they use that one spell there. I'd be immediately like just backing off straight away right now." The fact that like it
Okay.
doesn't happen is the fact where it gets really awkward because right now, what should happen is Ven should be like in the trees here, clock should be TPing in, and then they set up with a hook shot and Invoker TPs in. Instead, like PL gets kind of spotted and kind of caught out. So if you can kill this guy quickly, then it will work out. But there's kind of, clock goes on the Tinker, you go on the PL, and it gets a bit messy. But so after you've killed a PL like immediately now and you dodge the Sunstrike, I'd be like, okay, can we re-engage? But like Invoker and Undying like immediately die, so it's like, oh, it's a bit awkward. But luckily, I mean, this fight only goes well because Venge isn't actually here, or he's like really late to the fight.
Yeah, I think he TP'd top or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so like, but it's good to keep an eye on things. Obviously, like end up killing the Sky as well. But like this fight could have been a lot worse if Venge was actually here from the beginning of that fight. But it's good that you kind of keep an eye on things ready to fight, and then we know what happens. You kill them all, yada yada yada. But yeah, just like keep for sure. Just like once you've committed ulties, like this is probably the biggest, like the amount of times that throws the most, honestly, in kind of ancient Divine games where like you win a big fight, you go push a tower, and then like you've used all your cooldowns, all your mana, and then they respawn and then just kill you straight after because you're pushing a tower. You shouldn't, But
yeah, it happens a lot where like my team wins a fight mid game, and
yeah.
I'm like, okay, guys, I'm like finishing this BKB now. I like go off to farm a camp or something, and then all of a sudden they're like dying.
For sure, yeah.
Winning a fight doesn't mean we can kill a building, guys. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Spectre. Like, just keep in mind though that like you can also sometimes like debate your team. Like, so if you're like, I know what sometimes what I mean I do it sometimes as well where you might be, oh, okay, I'm waiting in the area, waiting to sort of see if anything happens. Like if they go on my team, I might be able to help them. But that like your almost indecision can almost hurt your allies as well because they might be like, oh, Spectre's staying, should maybe I like stay as well? Whereas like sometimes I know I said like you can, if a fight happens and they're going to be TPing bot, like if you just TP top, like it sends career direct message to your team saying I'm not fighting this fight, just get out. And sometimes, particularly in pub games where like communication is kind of poor, being very direct and obvious, being like I'm no part of this fight, of like TPing to the opposite side of the map, then you know that like your team can just back out. But if you like kind of wait, like oh should we station, then it like can result in worse things, But this is all good. Like you had a good fight. Right now, again, like you can, as long as your team are as sort of 4 and you have Haunt ready and everyone else has like coil and stuff, like you can fight, wherever and whenever you want, assuming you have those spells available. The port top now makes it a little bit worse. I said you can TP top if they're TPing bot. But 40 seconds after or a minute after that engagement, TPing top is worse. Yeah, for sure. And I know you're doing it because you want to play the opposite side of the map because your team are, bot and you don't want them to be there. You want them to be top and you can be farming bot. But you should just stay bot regardless because what ends up happening is if you stay bot and the enemy team tries to, respond to you, your team are already there and you have everything you want to fight, Whereas being top, the worst case scenario is if they go on you top because your team can't get to you and you can't really haunt because most likely they're all on top of you anyway. And that's what makes it bad. Yeah, whereas if you're bot and they all go on you, at least your team are there and then you're taking a fight that you want to be taken. So that's what makes it, TPing top. Like if you're TPing top or TPing into your safe lane just to farm and to sort of like not to relieve pressure, it makes it a little bit worse. Obviously, having Tinker on your team and being a Spectre makes it a little bit better, but it's still, bad in some aspects, really. Because now it drags all your team to run top when they probably don't really want to, but they're doing it just to sort of see if you're safe and stuff. But yeah.
Okay, here's Manta.
Yeah, you got mana now. Small thing as well, you have a lot, like you have very little mana, and I just want to...
Yeah, I'm buying clarities now, I should have.
Yeah, definitely clarities. In team fights, I can definitely, I think it's fine, but I don't know if you do it. I haven't actually watched.
Well, yeah, I haven't been trying swapping though.
Yeah, it's a small thing, but on a hero like an Adu carry, it's really important that when you, particularly with Soul Ring as well, you have a lot of efficiency out of it, where you go Strength Treads to use Soul Ring, and then use Int Treads to use Spectral Dagger. If you do both those tricks, you'll have a lot,
Yeah,
particularly if you have necros.
probably too less
I mean,
entertaining.
it's probably the whole necro thing as well. We talked about it, how it's a lot of mana as well. To be fair, so if you're using it to
Yeah,
farm, it's probably why as well. To be fair, but yeah, it's a small thing, but again, the efficiency thing makes a big difference. But let's fast forward back to sorry, I keep flicking back and forward. It's probably quite annoying, but
that's all right.
but yeah.
You're right.
But this is cool. So yeah, you got mana now. I'd probably want a TV on me, and you have one now. It's fine. It's cool. This is all good. I think after Manta now, I'd probably look into go Abyssal Blade, because it's kind of the like you can go Heart as well, but that's a very defensive thing. And I think if you go Abyssal, you can kill Invoker, which is takes a big threat off the map. Fights probably happening bottom. You haunt in. This is all good. Go straight on to the Invoker. Good fights. And there, when Invoker did, you just clean up. This is all good. And now you can take the tower now because Invoker's dead for 70 seconds, a lot longer. And this is all good. So where does the throw happen? Because this game goes on for 30 more minutes or so. So I'm wondering when the bad stuff happens.
So, I think now, I'm not sure if I die here, or I think there's a weird fight in their jungle.
So you're tanking tower, which is pretty bad. Looks like you're right. Invoker's up. So now after the tower is taken, I'll be looking just to reset. You don't want to be going.
Invoker's 30 seconds. So yeah, okay. So we back here. Yeah.
This is
Here,
fine.
the weird fight happens in their jungle here.
Okay.
Yeah. So here I'm like, okay, I'm farming. I'm occupying bot lane.
Yeah.
Sending me.
Yeah. This is all good. No one's showing on the map, so you need to be a lot more careful now. Invoker TP's top.
They sneak Roche at some point here.
Yeah.
I think they go Roche right now, actually.
Yeah, and this is another, and this also like another important thing about kind of pressuring that bot lane as well. Like if you keep that bot lane pushed in, someone's going to TP to it, so it relieves a little bit of pressure on Roche. But it's also the weakness of Dire, because I talked to you about, actually I think I even mentioned it a little bit on the Luna. When you're playing Radiant, you don't have the Ancients, but you do have Roche nearby, whereas if you're Dire, you have the Ancients, but you don't have the Roche when you play carry. But that's just kind of the importance of defending bot. But I mean, you're 6k up now, and as long as you're, so right now, all you've got to do, because you have the net worth advantage, is whenever fights occur, you need to be S5. As long as that happens, you won't be losing fights. Now, as a carry hero, you might be thinking, all right, okay, how can I, make sure that my team are fighting as 5? And that all comes down to how you're either relieving pressure on lanes or applying pressure on lanes. Because if lanes aren't relieved or kind of in the right place, someone might TP to the other side of the map to relieve pressure when that should have been you. Or, likewise, if lanes aren't being pushed in. So let's give you an example. In this case, you have pushed bot in well, but let's say this bot lane is by your tier 1. The same goes for here. What the enemy team can then do, they can go as 5, group, and then look to have a fight or smoke gank on one of these heroes that are pushing this lane by themselves. But by having lanes pushed in, then it forced them to react and play split, But in this kind of gold lead, I don't see, unless something one of those things does happen, I don't see how you kind of lose fights, because you won the last 2 when you've been as 5, So the only thing
the thing is,
go on.
So I think we have we have a good team for team fights, but I don't think we have a good way to initiate. Even if I get Abyssal and I haunt on the Invoker and Abyssal him or something, he can get Venge swapped and whatever. What we have is a team that's good at fighting when they stupidly engage on Undying or Spectre, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have Puck. I mean, Puck doesn't have a Blink Dagger, which is a bit suspect to be honest. But I mean, you have ways of initiating. You have if you ideally you'd have Blink, Puck, Ags, and you go and haunt in and plot with Tinker. That should be good enough. But you are right though. Wyvern is really good at defending, but I do think though going Abyssal would be better. And it's a small thing.
Probably.
The reason why is, although Heart isn't bad, I mean on Spectre Heart is great, because it really you get so much effective HP whenever you go with Spectre, but going Abyssal over Heart allows you to be aggressive. Basically, you haunt in, you see the Invoker or the Skywrath, you Abyssal them, and they just instantly blow up and they die. You can do it solo, but Tinker, Rocket also help as well. But you going Heart, it's almost asking the enemy team to go on you and then trying to respond to a fight. Whereas the Abyssal is like, I'm gonna fight and go in. Like, and honestly, ever since they've given the Abyssal the range, it's so good, man.
It is. Yeah.
I think like if you watch, I mean, if you watch PLs now and even Spectres as well,
Yeah.
normally they'd
That was
go, yeah, they'd go Diffusal, Manta, and Heart like before. But now, like I'd say 80% are going Diffusal, Manta, Abyssal,
That's fair.
or like Radiance, Manta, Abyssal. I don't
Yeah.
even mind you going Heart after, but like you're not like the way you're losing fights isn't because you're squishy and you're just blowing up. Like you already have 3,000 HP
Yeah.
with strength
More like
treads, you have like 3.2. Yeah, you don't need any more. Like Abyssal helps with that anyway. Like you get a bit more tanky from the block and from the strength from the basher as well. You
Yeah,
like
my thought with the heart was kind of basically like it was less about dying and more like I need a little bit more HP, but also like the only way I think we lose fights is actually not Invoker because I think we have enough ways to dodge and tank his spells. It's like the
yeah.
fight goes really long and like PL out like just ends up having like a little more survivability than me in a long-term fight. And I was like, if I go hard, PL will just kill himself on me, and like
Yeah,
there is then
for
No
sure.
way PL can win the game. Whereas like I feel like if I go Abyssal, like maybe Invoker gets saved or something. And like again,
Yeah,
that might just be like too defensive of a
yeah.
mindset.
I mean,
So I think you're probably right.
yeah. I mean,
Uh,
before we
saying
watched
like
before
the reason I went hard is I felt like the PL was the only way for them to win the game at this point, and
Yeah,
that
I mean, it is
Invoker was
for
causing
sure.
problems.
You're right, but your understanding of it is wrong. Basically, PL is the only way they
Right.
win this fight. Yeah. However,
Yeah.
PL only wins this fight is if he's not supported by his teammates. Like you can't kill PL. Like so, if you try and fight in a team fight, and the first person you try and kill is PL, you're gonna lose the fight. That
Yeah.
shouldn't be your mindset. Your mindset should be we're gonna kill everyone but PL, and then after all his team and all his team support are dead, then we can kill him because like he's gone heart hood and he's actually not that much damage. He's just hard to kill. So if you go
That's
Abyssal
fair.
and you just haunt in, kill the Invoker, then everyone else dies because Invoker is dead and he's kind of their biggest threat in the team fights. So you kill Invoker, then you kill Sky, then you kill Venge, you kill Clockwork, and then you can just kill PL, and PL can't like 5v1. But you going
Yeah.
Heart then limits your ability to kill Invoker, Skywrath, Venge, Clock. Yeah, Abyssal doesn't do anything against PL really. Um,
Yeah.
Heart does, but it's not the way you should be approaching these fights, kind of thing, and that's kind of
Yeah.
why
If that
it's
was really
bad.
my concern, I should have bought fucking Mjolnir, right?
Yeah,
But
exactly. Even Battlefield. I mean, it sounds terrible, and it is
yeah.
terrible, but that's not
Yeah.
your concern. Do you know what I mean? Like, but Tinker, Puck, even Wyvern are good against the PL. You should be focusing on killing other people. Well, this fight is good though. Like you're killing a lot of their supports. Wyvern gets like a
So
decent thing. They buy back here.
so this is exactly what I'm talking about though. Where like so what happens is I kill two of their guys. PL is like almost killing two of my guys, and like I'm
Mm,
concerned that what'll happen basically like PL and I both get ultra kills, and
mhm.
then like
It's
nothing
just.
happens, which I guess is fine because I'm a Spectre. I will out carry him eventually,
Mhm.
right? But like I don't know if they buy back. Like,
Yeah, I mean the thing is that you've killed Venge, Clock, and Skyrev. Clock's already bought back, so already like you've done more than the PL. If you had a Bizzle, you probably would kill the Invoker as well. To be honest, he
yeah,
has he
fair.
has Lincolns, but like you can proc it with Spectre and Dagger, for
Yeah,
example. But it's like this PL is enabled by the Invoker, ideally, really. So if you can kill him and coming from the Abyssal, that's where it comes back to. Um,
yeah,
so and
you're
also
correct.
like you're a lot more threatening when you have mana, like, and so by that I mean like if you just have heart and you just man up on the PL and PL just keeps right clicking at you, like, and you have no mana because it's all been drained, you're not really that threatening. But if you have
Yeah,
Abyssal, you haunt in, instantly use all your mana, use all your spells, kill Invoker, then you become a threat in the team fights. But
it's true.
having this kind of passive mindset isn't correct really. But right now, Tinker has used all his mana, he's teamed back, and you've already used Haunt and Clock's just brought back. So right now you kind of want to reset if possible. If like Wyvern has to die, then so be it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so right now I'm happy with things that just happened. If Wyvern just dies, fair enough. But like you kind of want to engage. Like this makes it a bit more awkward. You have no mana now. Undying tries to save you. Tinker's coming back, Invoker's got all his crap up. Now you're a little bit more threatened. It's looking not too bad. But like you see how like you dying here is actually like your fault really and no one else's. And it's because you should just kind of cut your losses, particularly when someone buys back, you just be like, look, just reset, you know, like fair enough. Wyvern dying here is fine. Just leave him and just run away. But like you try and re-engage, and that's when it makes it really awkward. You have no mana. Again, this is what I mean. Like you having no mana, you're not very threatened.
I was just trying to poke, but I shouldn't be.
And then and you're not having Haunt as well, like, and also like. I
bait my Tinker in. Like, I mean, he shouldn't finish that TP, but like,
you bait him in. Yeah. I mean, luckily he doesn't die, but for sure, like, you know, and then so now it's like in some ways the team fight's kind of even. Yeah, now they get roast, and it's even as well, because before you forced a buyback from Clock and you killed 2 of their heroes. Whereas now, even though you killed 3, like you dying is like 2 of their supports at least, and also you have no buyback. They take Roche. Puck shouldn't be dying here as well, but it's just kind of the follow-on from that, you know. Or maybe he doesn't die. I don't know, but it looks like he's fine. Yeah, he's fine. But yeah, so it's just kind of like overall, I think your game is actually quite good. It's like these small. Not necessarily small, but it's just these few kind of instances that like have big impacts, honestly, on how games go. Like right there, if you just back off and reset, again, you know, instead of being 6k up, you're now 8k up, and Clockwork has no buyback. So you just run it back, do exactly the thing you did before. The team fight, you just wait for ult on, everyone goes up. Like, and if you know if everything is the same, then the result will be the same as well. So the result was you won the team fight. You just reset, do it again, and then you keep getting ahead, and then you just eventually just win the game. But when you start changing the formula, that's when you die, they get Roche, and it makes it a bit more. You know, now it's like, oh, okay, now it's like, oh crap, now it's like, okay, Invoker probably maybe gets Aegis or whoever gets in. It's.
You can zoom through the rest of this game at like 8 or 16, and then I want to take a look at the last game.
Sure. So just go through. So again, and also like you dying now as well sets back your Abyssal Blade by loads. Like, because you could maybe go hard than Abyssal, but now it's like, oh, I'm no longer as farmed as.
Five minutes for
and then it makes it a lot worse. But like I said, you know, even if you had heart in that engagement as well, you would have died because everyone was on top of you. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter, you know. That's what makes it. Right now, I think the team fights are a bit more awkward because they have Aegis, so you can't do what you were doing before. Looks like you're still trying to. Might work out.
Yeah, I think we win this fight because we popped Sky beforehand.
Yeah. And like I said, you just want to kill everyone but the PL.
Good fight to grab this DD.
I think that's alright. I think it's not so bad. Like I said, you want to just kill PL when he's isolated by himself, so killing him like this is fine. If you can. It's awkward. Maybe kill the Clockwork instead. He has no buyback. And this fight's gone on for so long. Sky and Venge are like coming back already. Is this one though? 2 4s. Reset up. Prince Knife is not bad. It doesn't work on your Haunt Illusions though, unfortunately.
No.
It's not bad though. I think it's still good. It's kind of like a mini Abyssal Blade in itself. You give it away.
Yeah, getting.
What you get?
I think I got rid of the knife or something.
Magic. What did you say instead? Let's have a look.
I think we gave the Prince's Knife to Puck.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
It's fine. Right. Let's
I think it's the next thing we get.
So this should be a good fight. PL is isolated. You see that from your Haunt as well, but there's no Puck ulti, so it's hard to kind of commit.
Yeah, here I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna run to their backline.
Yeah, just quickly before. This is all fine and all, but like if you're swapping out items, you need to have a neutral item before you go into this fight. Like you had, I think, Van Brace like all up to this. Like I don't mind you switching out items, but you can't be switching out items if you know there's going to be a fight or whatever happens. Like you either swap out an item and immediately get a next one. You like it's a small thing, but you know on a hero like you, stats is so important, and you know any little bit of items is really really important. So I mean you end up giving it. For some reason, it's now bugged. It says you have it now, but yeah.
No, this is the fight we watched before. You went back.
Ah, okay, a bit fun.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Man, I'm so glad you're on the ball, man. I'm like, I don't know where I am now. Oh my
Anyway,
days,
so
this
this
game's
is the consequence of that fight. That
okay. It worked out in him.
after, yeah, where the PL lost his Aegis
Yeah.
in a weird way.
So I mean, it kind of looks like everything was good except for that one death, and then it kind of delayed the inevitable almost. It feels like where like you're winning team fights eventually,
Yeah,
and you're going ahead
yeah, and I think not buying treads also delayed my farm quite a bit.
for
And then
sure.
a couple weird map plays. Yeah. Okay, let's
Do you
take a
want
look
to,
at
yeah,
the
so look at
Navi.
this one for sure. Yeah, we got that. Got that.
This one I suspect will be more of the same in terms of like safe versus risky farm and like pressuring properly, but also like enemies just balled up so hard and like uh, I don't want to be a teammate blamer, but my mid laner, this was his third game on US East. He has 830 games on Russia, and I don't think he's an account buyer. I think he's actually Russian because I looked and he's gone back to playing on Russia. So I believe
Yeah,
my
nice.
mid Slark had 400 ping, but
Nice.
I don't know because I'm on US East.
Oh yeah, I
But
mean, don't get me wrong. I think there's definitely games where like it does come down to your teammates just being bad, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't learn from games like that. That's just the thing to keep in mind. But yeah, for sure, there's games where like that's the thing. It's important to have that mindset though because like every game can be a game where your teammates throw or do something bad. But if you have the mindset of like every game can be something to learn from, then every game won't be a waste. If you like just play to win and then you lose, then it's a waste, But if you play to improve, to learn, then every game actually can be beneficial,
most games are like at least potentially winnable.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean sometimes there actually isn't, like they're feeding, they're destroying items, but those games you can still learn something from them, even how small they may be, you can still learn from them. And that's kind of if you have that mindset. I mean, it's important. It's good to. It's kind of beneficial and positive because if you like only are focusing on winning and then you lose, then it's like that's a waste. I've just wasted an hour. But if you play to improve and be better, then even if you lose, it's like that hour was still useful. It's an important mindset to have. I'm just loading in now.
Yeah, so this lane goes pretty well. I think I just like do Naga things. I get my 3 Wraith bands. I think I get a some amount of denies. I remember thinking I could have gotten more, but I think the Slardar was well pressured. I think I pressured him more in like pushing him off the wave than denying it.
You playing Wraith King?
No, I'm playing Naga here.
Naga, sorry.
Yeah. I tried to pick Wraith King, and we simultaneously picked.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love Wraith King at the moment. I mean, Naga is a good counter against Wraith King actually. PO and Naga are probably the two best. I think. Struggles against illusions a lot.
I think I'm an okay Naga player. I find playing her really difficult. It's not like my hands that hurt; it's my brain. Like just trying to micro at full efficiency for like 40 minutes.
I think she's a good hero, particularly in this patch. She's one of the highest actually win rates for carries. But this is all good. So I think your items are fine. Maybe a bit a tad greedy if you're playing against Slardar, but I think it can work. It's all good.
Do you think I need a salve here?
Maybe. It's personal preference, really. Like I've seen carries do this build, and I've also seen them have salve instead of slippers and have like. But at the same time, you don't want to be buying magic wand on Naga, so having 3 branches probably isn't great. But just personal preference. This is all good. Pressure from illusions. This is normal stuff. This is all good. All good again. Just kind of probably telling my team, my support, just to pull at 115.
Yeah.
This is all good.
I just said just pull constantly in this lane. I will never die.
Yeah.
You cannot pressure him.
Yeah. Aggro pull. This is all good. Your courier dies as much as mine, honestly.
Yeah. They're like
honestly.
Man, there's some core players where like they literally they don't play the lane. They actually just snipe.
One thing actually that I've actually done because I'm exactly as you. My courier dies like at least twice a game, because I just buy my items and just click like send to me. However, the thing I've been doing now actually, I've watched So you send it to the tower, then you queue it to yourself because normally like what ends up happening is your courier like runs to you wherever you are, so it like runs through the trees and it's like it just dies. If you send it to the tower and then send it like to you, it's the pathing is so much better. It's a small thing, but it's something that I'm doing that I find quite useful because my courier always just feeds actually. Quite funny, but
I'll start doing
Yeah, it's a small thing. It takes a little while to get used to, but it's definitely a lot better. Like my courier dies a lot less ever since I've done it. But
Okay, so the wave split really in a weird way there.
mhm.
Was I correct? Like just
Let's have a look.
start hitting a range creep?
Yeah. So, oh, I went not far enough back.
Yeah,
Right. One.
back once.
There we go. There we go. So yeah. So obviously your pool was here. I would
And
so
yes,
yeah. So right here
this
it's
is
all
it.
good, and it's like it goes. It's actually 5 seconds before this because the aggro goes onto the disruptor. I mean
Yeah,
it's partly bad from the disruptor, but if you are on the ball, you should kind of see it. So basically, all you have to do is like you run right here, and what that does is it splits
yeah,
the ones at the back to go on the disruptor on the left, and the ones at the front to go on the right to you. Whereas if you just
mm,
hug the trees left, you take both creeps, and then now this scenario
okay,
doesn't happen. It's a small thing, but now
yeah,
these
yeah.
creeps happen here, so now you're split between which ones to take. Uh,
Now
yeah.
that it has happened,
Now,
it's you
yeah, I mean,
going the range creep. Yeah,
probably if you actually start auto attacking the ones at the bottom, they die quicker. But it's a small thing, but yeah, it just all goes back to you not taking the aggro at the
yeah,
start. I mean, you miss 1 or 2 CS, which yeah, it's not too big of a deal, but it is a bit of a problem. But this is fine though. I would just kind of when you play Naga, like she has actually a really strong lane presence in the sense that
mm,
not because she does a lot of damage per se, but she's able to clear the creep wave really quickly. So this is kind of what I'd be kind of telling my support just to keep spam pulling while I push the wave out. Because once you get kind of treads and your wraith bands, I'm kind of just want to hit jungle anyway, really. So
mm,
this is all good. Like you're putting a lot of pressure on the Slardar. This is fine. Yeah.
yeah. Here I'm like, go ahead,
Yeah,
get me in.
yeah,
But
I think it's fine. Like you have tangos and regen to spare. I mean, you probably don't even need a 7 this lane. Actually, it's worked out alright. Wyvern hasn't been using a lot of Ws, or he doesn't even have it, so that's probably why you're having Evan to use a self because he's spec completely wrong. But it is what it
yeah,
is.
that's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Doesn't matter. But yeah, this is all good. Pulling gives like lots of experience to you. This is good as well. Your illusion and control is good. You don't need 4 on this wave. You can have 2 over here. Your curry dies again.
yeah.
Dear.
With the so I
Yeah.
have like no wraith bands in this lane.
Yeah. I mean I mean we laugh about it, but it is actually a big deal though because
Yeah, it is. It is.
yeah,
That's
and
why
that
actually
just
it's not
goes that just goes back to like
missed.
because you walked through here. So if you just do the tower trick I told you, that wouldn't
Yeah,
happen. So just keep that in mind. But it does make a difference though because you having wraith bands is really important for the attack speed more so than anything, honestly, because it
yep.
affects your riptide. So and it makes you slower to push out the wave really. But you're not in.
Wait, is my Spark here?
Yeah, he's on
What the
the.
hell?
He's on. Yeah, he shouldn't be there,
Oh my
but
god, he pounced there.
he
Okay.
pounced on the. He had to be luckily.
Why is a mid Spark trying to gank my way to
I
teammates?
don't know. Well, I don't know. So I mean, right now the lane stay looks pretty good though. You seem to understand what you know what you're doing, just kind of pushing out waves while your support pulls. This is all good. So when you get treads is the moment where you can kind of just jungle and push lane as much as you want. It's the movement
Yeah,
speed
I
really that
felt
kind of
like
like limits you really. I mean, I think going the gloves of fate isn't that bad, but actually because of like farming speed, but it's the boots that would probably allow you to kind of farm ancients and the wave. But I mean, it's yeah. I mean,
okay.
I'm just saying to think about. I mean, I've seen this where carries
Yeah,
go
I've seen
gloves
win
instead of
lace.
boots.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I've seen Arteezy go win lace.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think you go win lace regardless. Actually, to be honest, like you
Okay.
go, yeah. It's just so because on your hero, the movement speed is actually the limiting factor. So
Mm.
I think going gloves of haste is fine. But remember, if you go boots, you can kind of farm probably both creep cramps and the wave. Whereas if you don't have the movement speed, you can't. But I think Windlace is really really good. I was going to mention it, but now you bring it up. Yeah, it's
So
like
replace one of the wraith bands with the win lace,
I mean,
or
I mean, I've seen Arteezy do 3 Wraith Bands and a Windlace, and then he goes just straight into Manta because it's just straight into one item slot. If you're gonna go
okay.
Diffusal Blade, then I would say go.
I go mid to first most
Yeah, I
games.
think.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, normally 2 Wraith Bands is enough. Actually, and then on Naga 2 Wraith Bands is enough anyway. And then on
Okay.
other carry heroes, the trend I've been seeing instead of they used to go 2, but now they're going 1. And
Yeah, it's one and a buckler, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it's better because if you think about Wraith Bands, the whole idea behind them is they make your laning stage stronger. So if you want to contest the lane, go for it, you know. Whereas
Mm.
Naga's laning stage is so strong anyway that I feel that you don't necessarily. 1 second. Yeah, so is that your lane stage is so strong anyway, you don't need the third Wraith Band in that sense, and so you can kind of rush maybe the treads, and then it also gives the space for the Windlace as well.
That's fair.
And like I mean, I notice it a lot actually because I play my most kind of hero that I play most is Anti-Mage, and normally you'd go like 2 Wraith Bands into Battle Fury kind of thing, but like I've been watching a lot of Miracle when he plays Anti-Mage, and like he either goes 1 Wraith Band or doesn't go 1 at all actually, and it just because it's like if he's in the mindset of either he has a complete free farm lane, he doesn't need the Wraith Bands because it's there to enhance his laning stage, or his laning stage is so bad that he doesn't want to contest it anyway, so he just doesn't go that many Wraith Bands. And it's the same kind of principle in the sense that, okay, your laning stage is so good, you don't need the added help from the Wraith Bands, so you can kind of say have 1 less, go Windlace, and then you're going to be going into your mana diffusal. I mean, in this lane,
Yeah.
you've had such a good laning start anyway that I'm assuming that your farm is going to be so good that you're going to be replacing your Wraith Bands kind of quickly, so it makes it a little bit inefficient. I mean, it's a small thing, and it's not the end of the world that you bought an extra Wraith Band, but just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Because I think the Windlace is actually really good. But this is all good.
Yeah.
You're gonna like crush and just kill everything and everyone. Like your laning stage is fine. Yeah, this is all good. Farming the wave now, like because when you crush a lane, like this is what you're gonna be doing: farming the wave and the lane. And you're gonna go ancients as well. This is fine. Particularly like ancients is great as well. Like up post 7 minutes because you get to get all the neutral items as well. So this is all good though. Yeah, just going straight after the wave.
I should have flown a salve out here.
Yeah, definitely. This is all good. So Shaman is bot, so I mean I think you can still kind of push out waves, whether he's there or not. Just keep that in mind. That yeah, maybe you can send like illusions on it instead, or you can. I mean, right now like your lane looks like you're kind of crushing top. But yeah,
I'm going to the wave behind them with the illusions.
Yeah, I think that's the right play. So all this is all good. I think if I see all this kind of chaos happening top, and I see Slardar eventually going to be there, I want to be pressuring this tier 1 bot or tier 1 mid. You go bot.
Yeah, I probably should be mid.
I think with you have because you have like very little health. I think bot is probably safer. I think if you had salve, maybe you go mid, but I'd be looking to kind of push bot as soon as possible, really. And I'd probably have. I mean, tower is low. You might be able to get it without it, but this is all good.
I think my next set.
I think I probably would have. So this, I think this is. I mean, it's good regardless because you go and take the wave. But I think I would have probably had my main hero with this way, just because then you take the tower, and you know. Because Slardar and everyone rotated top, no one can contest you, and even if someone does, you have ulti. But because you are only pressured with your illusions, you're not actually going to take this tower, which goes back to the fact of I think you probably should be focusing a bit more on pressuring than just getting your farm. Because like you farm well and you have a good lane stage, you're gonna maybe get it here.
Yeah,
you do.
Here, but I could.
Yeah, it's just and then you put pressure mid. You know, like. The thing on Naga is that it's all about kind of focusing so much on like pressuring lanes, particularly when you're farming. Like you want to just kind of suffocate the enemy heroes, and the quicker you can take towers and lanes, the faster you can do that kind of thing. But this is good. I'm looking to go bot as well. Maybe could have done a rotation of jungle, but this is all fine.
There, I felt like because they were all showing, I should just get to the wave as fast as possible.
Yeah, I think. It's funny because I think the mindset's actually the other way around in the sense that like so everyone was top showing I would have had my hero now, but now everyone's like running mid, and bot is actually pushing in anyway. That if you run here with your hero, you're only going to be able to get 2 or 3 creeps. Whereas if you get a whole jungle, you're going to get all this jungle, and then you can push out bot with illusions anyway.
I see what you mean. Yeah, now they're closer.
Yeah, and they're just running after you anyway. So it's like they might as well be running after your illusions, because now you have to back off because you can't even take this wave, you know. So it's like it's just a small thing, but I would have just farmed the jungle there. But this is the right way. But and also I'd kind of look, because you've particularly now you've taken the 2-1 tower as well. I'd want you to be doing what you're doing, but doing it top. So farming the jungle and pressuring the tower. You don't necessarily have to be even showing your hero top, but because they've taken the tier 1 tower and they've all run bot and mid, like now is your time to have a chance to pressure this top lane. Because you farming in your own jungle is So you TP top. Is this good? This is fine. Yeah, this is fine. This is all good.
Yeah.
This is fine. I'm just gonna speed through because we're running out of time rapidly. This is all good.
So like I don't know, there's just a bunch of weird fights that happen this game. Like I don't know why my team wants to 4v5 in the jungle. Someone could be hitting their mid.
Yeah, this is like this. I mean, right now, everything you've done so far, I think, is actually really good. And I mean, this this slog is something else to be fair, but. Yeah, I think right now though, all these engagements you need to you pressure top, but you probably need to pressure mid as well, and you're in their jungle again. So, yeah,
I mean, I'm going to
mid. I just want the urgency, you know, like they've been showing and fighting for the last minute and a half maybe, and like only now you're pressuring the tier 1 tower. I think if you go like immediately.
Maybe that's not worth it. Maybe I just leave the runes and go to mid immediately.
But you're hitting creeps here, and so getting the runes is fine. I think it's fine, but it's just kind of I think the urgency and the mindset. You know, like I think you just need to be runes mid instantly. And that's like again, this is your hero here as well. You're farming here, you're splitting here, and like it's just these 10-15 seconds make a difference. You know, you get it again. It's good. It just like I think better players, and not necessarily me. I'm not a fantastic Naga, but I think like they'd be on these 5-10 seconds make a difference, and it all adds up. You know.
5 or 10 seconds every minute is 5 minutes by the end of the game.
Exactly. But this is fine now. Lanes are in a kind of good position. You still need to be pressuring lanes as you are. I think right now is when you get Diffusal, I'd be looking to go because Wraith King isn't going to be 20 by the moment you have. Yeah, he's nowhere near it.
So he's not, but he's gonna have Radiance, and they ball up hardcore. Like I don't think they ever There's 1 or 2 instances where like someone is alone, but they just ball together completely. And like I don't know. I don't think my illusions can survive Necro Q and then Wyvern W.
Yeah, not
a Shaman Shock and a Radiance going. Like I feel like this game, like I need Nether Diffusal Heart. I really think.
I mean, if they're balling at this is good though. You're putting the right pressure on the map right now. So right now is where I'm looking to Slido's top. So either I try and go on him, or my team goes on someone and I TP mid to fight with them. So you force rotations. This is all good. Right now I'm looking to fight bot right now. Like 2 TPs go. Like I'm pinging. I think you just pinged as well. Yeah, this is all good. This is a great fight. Yeah, perfect. Good. This is all good. This is all good. Yeah, he killed Wraith King. Good fight. And that's all. And that's kind of the mindset of Naga. Like you kind of almost play like an anti-mage in that sense, where you're pressuring with your illusions so that someone TPs to it, and then you fight. After that.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is. Oh.
So I die here.
Yeah.
My thought was that this fight would be decent because it is 5-on-4. Like there was no Wraith King when this fight started.
Yeah.
But then I get CC'd by this Shaman and this Slardar, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just after the moment you get Wyvern ulted is the moment you need to just kind of reset. You are right though, but at the same time, it's not going to be a. Everyone is up on the enemy team. Just keep that in mind. So like now, you don't get Wyvern.
Yeah, I know Wraith showing bot though. I know he TP.
Yeah.
And he can't be.
So like you. Yeah, I just feel like if you're going to be manning up like this, you should man up with your illusions, but have your hero back. Like you have to notice that Slark has like nothing, and Disruptor has no ulti, and the only one that can really save you is Axe. But it's not enough, put simply. So they're just like just a bit over the top, really. And I feel like Naga is one of those heroes. You die once in an engagement like this, and it makes it very difficult. I mean, like so far you've played like an almost perfect game,
yeah,
but
that
death is just
like
yeah.
losing team fight.
Yeah, because also it's where you die as well. Like you die with their creep wave, and then they're onto your tier 3s instantly. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just this could be a good engagement now, but
I'm going Wyvern. He gets glimpsed away from me, which lets him get the ulti off.
yeah.
I think I would have mana.
I think also as well, it's a small thing when you play against Naga. So when you play against Wyvern as a Naga, you want to be trying to have 2 or 3 different groups of illusions. When you have them, split them up, because if he does get an ulti on you like that, then it's nowhere near as damaging than if you have all your illusions on him. So you're
So here I don't know if people should be fighting or if I should be there. I don't think
what you should be doing is you should be doing what you're doing, but right next to them. So you should be farming here in these camps, because right now you can't join them even if you wanted to. I mean, 2 sports are dead, and seeing as they've been kind of winning the last 2 engagements, you have to kind of be around and with them, because they're going to be doing this whether you're with them or not, you know.
That's fair.
And so you just can't. Sometimes you just like, even though it's not ideal for them, they probably shouldn't be doing this, but they're going to, because it's pubs games and they're like, you know, low tier.
Yeah.
They're not thinking. But sometimes you just have to kind of go with your team. You do have heart, but I just feel like farm at least nearby so that the enemy realizes that they can't just commit on them knowing that you're not there. You know, like give them something to think about. Like if they see your illusions here, they're going to second guess just diving onto the axe. You know. Because now Axe doesn't have buyback, he's dead for like 50 seconds, so they can take Roche. You know, it's like, it's not, I wouldn't say it's your fault necessarily, but you definitely have a contributing factor towards it, you know?
Yeah, so here I know they're Roshing.
Yeah.
I'm not pinging it because I don't want my team to go feed, because sometimes ping Roche and they go even when it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
But I know they're Roshing, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to push this top lane in, try and get them to do something up here. Maybe I can kill Wyvern, or like, you know, they'll leave now and then go for my tower.
Yeah, you definitely want to be cutting waves for sure. I mean, you want to just be kind of cutting waves wherever they're pushing. This is a good play, I think. Until that, this is good though. Force reaction, perfect. Yeah, that was good. That was a good play. Even if you don't kill him, it's a good play.
Yeah. Yeah. Forced Wyvern ult.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's one of those games where I feel like this game is completely on you, and I don't think you really have the tools to carry it. Because
I don't know. Once they start 5-manning here, it's like, okay, game over.
And I think
like
that last death, it's only 1 death, but it actually makes such a difference, because they were able to kind of, and this one fight is here when they get Roche as well. It's those 2 kind of combined factors. Like, you're only 2,000 net worth above the Wraith King, which isn't enough to carry the game. Like, they're pressuring bot now.
I need a butterfly.
Yeah, you need a butterfly now. Yeah, and I think,
or like a skunk. Either way, I need 4K.
Yeah, you're now here in engagement, but it's kind of already too late, to be honest. Wyvern, yeah. I think ideally, I mean, it's not the greatest Naga game. The only good factor about Naga is you're playing against a Wraith King.
They picked Necro last. But,
Necro is good. Wyvern is a bit of a pain already. I mean, you're good against Wraith King for sure.
Yeah, so I saw, basically what I saw was, okay, I'm going to stomp Slardar. I don't care about Shadow Shaman. Wyvern can be played around. Like, there's a there's a support I can focus. And,
I mean, at the end of the day, I think you're right though. I mean, like, this Slark's like the same net worth as their support, so unfortunately, like, there's not much I can really analyze about this game. Like, I think, like, don't get me wrong, I think there's things you could have done better, but you did as much as you could, I think.
And then only other thing before you go is,
sure.
Now playing support at least 1 out of every 5 games is mandatory, so that I don't 1 out of every 5 games, because like it would be even harder to climb MMR.
Yeah.
Any general tips for playing support? I kind of just like
play one
Glitcher, Snapfire. I do what
I think
I would want done in lane.
Yeah.
And then I like try to find the guy I'm supposed to make plays with.
For sure.
And, like play around him, like my axe or whatever.
I'd say
the trouble is like I find there are some games where like, I don't know, you have like a Invoker Bristleback like anti-mage or some shit.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
okay, well, we
All
can
on
do
its
powers,
farm.
but like otherwise, I just stand around. Like,
Yeah. So first of all, I
mini
think you want to play. You play. First of all, play one or two heroes, and just get really, really good on them and support. Secondly, those one or two heroes have to have creep wave. If they don't have creep wave clear, then
yeah.
you
So like
can't have an
Snapfire,
impact. I think Snapfire is good. I'm not a big fan of Lich, to be honest. I think it's too much. Like, you dominate the lane as Lich, but if your carry is like, brain dead, he's not going to be able to win the game for you. So I really, really a big fan of Grimstroke. Actually, play a lot of Grim.
okay,
I think Grim's really good. I think Grim, Snapfire, I think are. I mean, like, I've been spamming like I played a lot of Snap. Actually, these are all carry games, but before this is all yeah. But like, I played loads and loads and loads of Snap. I think Snap's like really, really strong. Even after the nerf, I think it's really good. And yeah, do what you would want in a lane from a support, but more importantly, utilize smokes. Smokes are the most important thing.
yeah,
And go from
yeah.
there. Cool, man.
All right,
Thanks.
cool.
Thanks. I hope you were able to learn some stuff and it was useful
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, I think it,
But thanks for joining me, and I hope
yeah.
to see
Hopefully,
you soon, man.
MMR. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon again. I
Yeah,
had a good session.
likewise, man. Catch you later. GG.
Yeah, yeah. Did you record that or
Yes,
no?
I did. I'll be posting it
Oh,
so you can watch it. No
yeah,
worries.
yeah.
Cool. Catch you
Cool.
later, man.
Sweet.
GG.
Okay.
Peace.
Peace.